Patient 3715 had a freak out last night. Why I like talking about it is because it's not just for me, this story. I feel like it needs to be told for a lot of people. Look, I'm sort of getting closer to what I sometimes think, and I don't think it's necessarily a truth, but I think it's a really interesting concept nonetheless. And a lot of people speculate about whether this is in fact a simulation of some kind. We're also concerned about comfort within our present, but considering the possibility of parallel and other realities, I think distracts me from my own sort of inward self-focus, and starts to make me think outward and then back inward, which sort of puts you back into perspective of just how small you are within such a greater narrative. Patient 3715 arrived that night for me. My partner was just speaking from her subconscious while she was asleep. I believe the words were, "Patient 3715 had a freak out last night." You know, whenever we think that something is a test subject, we just assume that it's being exploited. But I mean, if that's a reality, that we're test subjects, then what really are we? Why does that intrigue me? Why do I gravitate towards that sort of narrative, that parallel existence? Why? We already within this reality create different facades and identities, so why not take that a step further and have identities beyond, you know, this physical reality that potentially can be explored, you know, multi-dimensionally, or yeah.
That triggers a whole creative response. You being an artist, you start framing up a story.
When I heard the words Patient 3715, it was that creative response. It was a spark, it was a trigger, and then I wanted to create from it. The moment I heard those words, it was like neural pathways were just burned out in my brain, and I can take this down multiple avenues. Patient 3715 is a mystery to me, and yet a known entity in some ways, because I mean that's what our human minds do. We're just always trying to connect dots. Patient 3715 didn't communicate with me with their own voice within me. The communication came through somebody who was conducting tests, or I was looking after this patient in some capacity. And they were the one who said the words, "Patient 3715 had a freak out." So it's somebody else talking about the patient, and then those words were spoken through my partner when I was supposed to be asleep, and she was asleep. There was no more, but then when I spoke to her the next morning, she had absolutely no recollection of it. I haven't heard Patient 3715's voice, but I know that there's a voice there. I'm always curious about DNA linkage between people, just having the DNA structure and the sort of genetic makeup of your predecessors can sometimes be all that's required for you to gravitate towards the same things. If there's potential for data storage and communication through DNA or whatever is even below that level, I mean that's got to be tapped. I mean, can you imagine the entire history of humanity is literally inside us? So yeah, like, and when a person obviously is asleep and their subconscious is allowed to just, you know, be what it is, who's to say that your subconscious can't tap into you know, some of those chemicals and, you know, conjure memories from past lives or past generations? That'd be awesome.
Just thinking about patient 37. Revisit anything to kind of flesh that. Does anything come to mind?
In terms of the art of rebirth, yeah, no, that's good. I like that because what if oh man, that's it's like I can, like, there's a veil, and I can sort of, like, that curiosity's there now again. It's like, no, I want to see beyond there. What's the connection between, like, my inability to resonate with the art of rebirth and the potential for patient 3715 on the other side, perhaps trying to find rebirth? And why can't I connect? There's a curiosity there. I feel like there's a way that I can connect with that, but I can't at the moment. And it's like there's a little bit of a fog in between. Like, I can't see that clearly yet.
But it excites you that that you can feel like there is some connection, but
but that
quantify it.
Yeah. It could just be that whenever I hear patient 3715,
it rockets you.
Yeah, it really does. It just, like, there's something there. But I do like, because I mean, whenever we create or write, it always comes from within. So we need to resonate with something before we write about it or create, because how can you make it reflect anything of meaning if you haven't understood that within yourself at some point? I mean, sometimes you understand it because you create. And that's actually the process by which you make meaning of something which you haven't made meaning of before. So maybe I can't cross that veil until I write this story. Maybe patient 3715 is my art of rebirth. I find it hard to curate my own life, but perhaps I can curate it through the story of patient 3715. So I need, like, a multi-dimensional distance between the self that I perceive that's sitting right here now, and the self that exists in some sort of other dimension as a patient.
Do you feel that, like, if you were to go through with this story and you really developed it and went through that process, that creative process of creating something, even if it was never released, for you personally, do you feel like you would have gone through some kind of shift-shaping rebirth kind of development just through going through the process for this character inside your mind?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, if I can't relate to patient 3715 as the creator and writer, how could anybody else? And so by pursuing that connection and that resonance within me with this patient, I think that's what excites me. It's going to take me through a lot of shifting. And yeah, I think that in terms of mindset, that's sometimes where creativity can take you. Like, it can burn out new mindsets for you simply through the fictions that exist in your own mind, and that's super exciting.
Was that you being crowned?
Could have been. My crown could be, burned within my mind. It could have been a moment of crowning. Within the past year or so, I feel like I've found a voice that I'm happy with, but it's not, and it doesn't feel like a contrived voice. What I mean by that is, I feel like I've found where my voice resonates, the illusion of strength in certain places, and that I've sang things where I just thought, shit, my greatest lesson was that I didn't. I think it's what I do before I sing that actually inhibits me the most. It's not when I sing, but yeah.
Very good. I like the expression on the face. You caught it just right.